Ladies and gentlemen, it's a new day on Press Hour, and we're glad to have you on board today's edition of the program. More about women, violence about women, gender-based violence. It has been going on for so many years, since 1995, when we had the greatest breakthrough in Beijing. The Beijing conference, so much has been said, so much has been done, but we think that there is still so much to be done. And today on Press Hour, we asking gender-based violence. Are women really walking their talk? If they are walking their talk, why do some people think that the actions are not giving the results to the point that we eliminate violence against women and the society? And to talk about this, we have eminent men and women on this set today. We're going to start with a man, and Prince Epie Ejede is a politician. He is the National Secretary for Organization of the Popular Action Party, and we are glad to have you on Press Hour today, Prince.
Thank you very much, Kilianda, for inviting me. It's also a pleasure for me to be part of your program. I want to greet the other panelists. Yes, as you rightly said, I'm the National Secretary for Organization in the Popular Action Party. I want to use this platform to greet the National President of the Popular Action Party, His Excellency Jack Dennis Tabe, who is watching us right here in Yaoundé.
Yes, everyone is watching us. You know, this program goes far and wide. Let me ask you this before you come into the discussion. Popular Action Party. Is the action only for the populace, for politics? Is it also in favor of women empowerment? Is it against violence? Is it for violence against women, or you just go for your politics?
Yes, as you rightly said, the word popular. It means it is the People's Party. It is both a party for men and women. If you look at the composition today of the Popular Action Party, you realize that the Popular Action Party is being made up of able youths who are both men and women. So it's one of that party that
Thank you very much. We're going to see how you actually go into action to favor women empowerment and to make sure that we don't have violence against women. Thank you very much. I will come back to you.
Thank you very much.
Yes, and after you, I am going to introduce to you, ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Solange Siri Tumasang, who is a civil society actor. She is a children's and women's rights advocate by her right. Thank you very much, Doctor, for coming here to talk about the things that you are doing as a foundation, that's what I'm told, and as a woman to make sure there's no violence against women.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kilian. It's always a privilege for me to come on board to talk about issues related to women. I am Dr. Solange Siri Tumasang. As you rightly said, I am the founder of Dr. Tumasang Siri Foundation and also the general coordinator of the network of women-led civil society organizations in Cameroon. So through my foundation, which is Tumasang Foundation, we work a lot with women and children. We seek for equal gender equality, and we also seek for safe spaces for women, especially defending women's rights. So talking about gender-based violence is something that is really a serious issue that we have to crack.
We're going to see what actions you are taking to make sure that what is happening, some of which even get to the point of femicide, like feminicide. I'm going to introduce another lady, younger than Dr. Solange. Bizel B. Mafo is a journalist with the Guardian Post newspaper. You're welcome to Press Hour, Bizel B.
Thank you very much, Kilian. It's a pleasure to be here. And this is a fight that, in as much as it has been going on for many years, we cannot say enough. We have to keep talking till we bring an end to whatever is causing it, because it keeps, every day we hear of women being killed. Every day we hear of women and girls being victims of violence. So I think that there is always need to talk till we have a solution.
We have to talk until we have a solution, but on this program today, I expect to have you tell us what you are doing, whether you are walking that you talk or you are just talking as you say. That it's the essence of today's edition of Press Hour. And I welcome another person who is a different kind of personality on Press Hour, a traditional authority, the fund some people call in local parlance, but it is the king of Konje Kut village in Fongom in Munchum division of the Northwest region. When we have a traditional authority by his own right, like you, His Royal Highness Cho Emmanuel, we are honored. If I had a cap here, because in the Northwest generally you do not give the reverence to the fund without the cap on you. I should have clapped my hands 3 times, but I just want to welcome you, not to break tradition. In there, you are welcome to Press Hour.
Thank you very much, Killian Dandy, for inviting me to the program Press Hour. And I think that inviting me to talk about salient issues concerning gender-based violence is something which is very current, and it has been for years, like other panelists have just mentioned. And we think that there are also some practices that were in the years traditionally, they must be actually modified to suit for the well-being of women, but women should not think that they are going to bite more than they can contain chewing, because they're always caution when you say you want this, you want that. So, like you introduced me,
the traditional authority being conservative.
Okay, the fund of Kunze in Cook Village. Cook has 2 funds, so that is why you have to precise that Chu Emmanuel, who is a journalist by profession, is the fund of Kumzen Cook. Cook is a village in Fungom subdivision, Menchum division of the Northwest region.
Yes, thank you very much. You're going to tell us, you've started putting speed breaks on how women should behave. Women think that there should be no such speed breaks when it comes to their rights, especially aspects that concern human dignity. We're going to get more of that on Press Hour today, ladies and gentlemen. I cannot fail to introduce Barrister Panje Roland, who is a senior social worker. She is also a legal official in the Ministry of Women's Empowerment and the Family, and we are very pleased to have you here. You are a household name on Press Hour. Welcome, Barrister.
Thank you very much. The pleasure is shared.
Yes, and
I'm happy to greet all those who are watching us now and will watch later.
Thank you very much.
That gender-based violence has to be stopped.
It has to be stopped. That is the watchword. Stop gender-based violence. The press had so much to talk about this gender-based violence and so many other topical issues in the week that just ended. Emanuela Vemnu took time to read the newspapers and put together the following package in what we call the press review for Press Hour.
The press week ending was marked by several news-making events, and the newspapers stayed true to their missions. Nollywood star Sylvester Madu escapes gun attack in Bamenda in the Voice as gunmen targeting the Nigerian movie star stormed snack bar and killed many. In the Post, sending the horizon to seek answers as to why Big G snack bar always scapegoat. Municipal Updates reports that 15-year-old Louisa was murdered in the terrorist attack. Then government opens investigation and promises to foot the bills of the victims in the Guardian Post. At the time, the Post newspaper cries for Kumbo in Bui division of the Northwest region, once vibrant town, today ruined by war, bringing untold suffering to the population. Another vexing issue, the population of Kumba in Meme division of the Southwest region is the ghost town phenomenon, which they have joint administration to end in Municipal Updates. Just when FACO SDO says fight against ghost town yielding fruit in the sun, the successes, challenges and way forward of the DDR Center 5 years on are examined in the Guardian Post. Happening when Eneo counts achievements 9 years on in Municipal Updates. In the eye of the reporter, Eneo wants government to pay 160 billion CFA francs before they leave, an amount the median describes as amazing in quotes in view of contract termination. Government then reveals 56 women killed this year through gender-based violence in the Guardian Post. And Cameroon Insider says enough is enough as alarming rate of gender-based violence released. Kumo Fed then drills community actors on how to end the menace in municipal updates before the Cameroon Human Rights Commission condemns all forms of violence in the pilot. PCRN elective convention is banned in Cameroon Insider as internal dispute rocks the party, and in no time Kamto and Akeremona condemned the ban in the Post. To the Guardian Post, Kamto and Akeremona tackle government for ban on PCRN Congress at a time OC makes first moves as SDF national chairman in the Sun with fiery appointments of new Secretary General in the Voice, firing Njongang and appointing Njong in municipal updates. What the pilot sees as OC updating SDF list in a LACAM database. Yet Dr. Aristide Mono says no party can beat the CPDM in current electoral system in the Post newspaper. President Paul Biya then bids farewell to Indian High Commissioner to Cameroon in Cameroon Tribune and hails Yaoundé New Delhi ties in the Guardian Post. Cameroon Insider reports that this was during an audience at the presidency of the Republic. The 2024 finance year is made known in all its facets in the Eagle's Eye as Prime Minister updates MPs on government's 2024 roadmap in municipal updates. And in no time, Honorable Ago Oliver commends President Biya for rejecting military bases in the Eagle's Eye. Let's now end our press review with a story in the Herald Tribune where on Christ the King Sunday, a consecrated host as the body of Christ at the Carmelite Convent in Saseboya, Southwest Region, was found with blood stains. The priest, Reverend Father Michael Njomo, said they couldn't say if it was exactly blood stains, but investigations, he said, will ascertain what exactly the stains were. Bishop Michael Bibi of the Boya Diocese is said to have come to the Carmelite Convent to see the Holy Communion with blood stains himself. Until I come your way again, this is your Hour with the Press.
Thank you very much, Emanuela Vemne. We look forward to having you next week, God willing, for another edition of Press Hour. Of course, each time you come with Press Review, you always enlighten us and our viewers on what the press would have fed on. That is exactly what we do, ladies and gentlemen. We are just tuning in. This is Press Hour, and we are beaming live from the CRTV Production Center in Balatu in Yaoundé. The topic that we're treating today on Press Hour is gender-based violence. Are women walking their talk? That is the question my guests will be trying to answer. I'm going to actually push them to show me and show us how far they are going, and we still have femicide. We still have people, women battered on daily basis in our country and around the world. I'm going to start with you, Dr. Solange Siritumasang. Tell us briefly, how serious is gender-based violence? We are within 16 days of activism against violence on women.
Yeah, gender-based violence it has become a real cause for concern. It is now a societal phenomenon. It is so serious that the United Nations instituted the 16 days activism campaign, which is aimed at raising awareness against gender-based violence. We need to note that every 1 out of 3 women suffers gender-based violence at least once in her lifetime, and 75% of those who suffer this violence refuse to talk, to speak out. So everything has to be put in place for them to push them to come out of their shell. And again, statistics show that there is a real rapid rise in the rate of feminicides in our society. There is no week or every month that passes without us hearing cases of women who were killed or women who were battered, or videos that are leaking on social media pointing to domestic violence. So it is a real serious concern which we must tackle. And
we are numbering, how many are we numbering in Cameroon in about 6 months? 59 that women who have just been killed.
Yes.
Should even be more.
Officially, it's 56 plus 1 that happened on Saturday.
Exactly. Okay.
So you see how serious it is.
Mm-hmm. Now, we're going to get to Barrister Panje, who is a man. And like every other man, we carry the flag, unfortunately, without meaning it, without actually perpetrating that every man is accused because perpetrators are men. Why is this? How serious is this? And what should we do, Barrister Panje?
Thank you very much, Kilian. Gender-based violence is really serious, and it is here to live with us, because from our various intentions and actions, as well as consequences, omissions and effect, perpetrators are at times amoral, as they want to project it that they don't know what they are doing because they grew up in that. But times are changing. Gender-based violence is real in Cameroon, because just 2023 statistics, as of when they launched the 16 days of activism, femicide was 56, and 2 days after it went to 57, because a young lady was killed just the other day. By who? Intimate partner. And when it comes to that, we start asking the question, why is it that gender-based violence is only rising? Are people not conscious of the importance of human rights?
Now, yes, we're going to give you time to develop all of that. You're showing us how serious. Thank you for revisiting the story of the death of the brutal killing of Diane in Douala, just 2 days after the launch on November the 25th, because the 16 days of activism against violence on women, gender-based violence, starts on the 25th of November, and I think ends on the 10th of December. So right. If it happened 2 days after, that was just on the 27th of November. That is too bad, and we're still going to continue with how serious it is before we go into what are the actions that you are taking. Yes, Bizelbi, Mafo, you have some statistics on violence and how serious this is.
We first of all start with the Universal Declaration of Human Rights of 1948, which states that no one shall be subjected to torture or to cruel, inhuman or degrading treatment or punishment. We have about at least 162 countries which have passed laws on domestic violence, and another 147 have laws on sexual harassment. But the issue is how many of these countries have to implement these laws. Many of them pass these laws, but they don't implement it. Most of them are not even up to international standards. In 2021, we had about 45,000 women and girls who were killed by their intimate partners. This means that
45,000. This is serious.
45,000 women and girls who were killed by their intimate partners. This means that more than 5 women are killed by the hour. Less than 40% of women victims seek help of any sort. Most of them go to families and friends, and we have less than 10% who seek for help from formal institutions.
This is too bad.
We have in 2020, for every 10 victims of human trafficking detected globally, about 4 were adult women and 2 were girls. And we have even more of these statistics, but the issue is when these women complain, what is done?
That is a question we are going to answer throughout this program. Let us get to His Royal Majesty Cho Emmanuel, who is, of course, naturally a traditional authority, the king of his village. How serious is this within the traditional authorities? I mean, sometimes provoked by our cultural practices.
Well, thank you very much once more, Killian Dandifon. I think that when it comes to issues related to gender-based violence meted out on women and children, or girl children, I think it's a serious cause for concern. Everybody, no matter what, we should understand that when we talk about violence, there's no need to be killing people because you disagree. You have your girlfriend, you have your wife, you live only by boxing every day. Those are the things that actually we denounce. And to get back to what the cultures, customs and traditions of the African man actually demand, it is not for people to marry and get divorced after 1 or 2 days, or staying some years making children, and afterward you separate and leave the children in dire situations. So I think our customs and traditions, like particularly those of a Kugman, they don't stand for anything violence. Because if these homes are violent, they will get shattered. When these homes get shattered, families are in disarray. When families are in disarray, it means that the village is no longer constituent. And you cannot govern in such an atmosphere as a traditional authority.
Now, we are going to continue with you, a young, enlightened, traditional authority who should easily get the message against those perpetrators, to get the message to get women empowerment activities, sensitization. We know some of those obnoxious traditional practices in typical African traditional setups. No exceptions. Can we get some, and how you are you are doing or you are intending to do to make sure that those, let me just give an example. A woman loses a husband, she is made to drink some stuff, the dead person is washed and she drinks. We also know that's poison in some societies, to prove that she is not the killer, or she is made to sleep on bare floor for months on ending, and so many others. Let us get from you. We are not actually arguing. We know that these are things that are happening. What are you doing, and how will you impact your traditional authorities to make sure some of these things end?
Thank you once more. I think issues were related to if a woman loses the husband, she has to go through some thorough kind of treatment because she's a suspect of having undermined the demise of the husband. I think if there are proofs, but at times it's difficult to scientifically prove what you say as an opinion against somebody, that this person killed this person. You don't have proof. But there are moments when we talk about traditional authority, there is some metaphysics involved in it. We see at times beyond the normal scene, and we know the necessary bodies that are in charge to actually look into it, whether truly this woman committed this. But to tell you that in my village, Cook, I think we have never subjected a woman to drink the wash-offs from the death husband, and I don't think that we cannot change tradition per se, but we are struggling to wipe away those things that are not going with humanity.
Yeah, what about subjecting a woman to get married to a family member of the late husband? Because that happens, and
yes,
Dr. Solange will tell me that is violence, right?
It's violence. I think in my community, I'm talking from, let's say, I'm a microcosm of the macrocosm. I'm taking example from where I come from, because I understand that we don't subject women to marry the brothers or the uncles of the late husband.
It is done in a subtle manner.
Yes, no, we
those things,
Yes, Killian, before you step in, I want just to tell you and viewers of Press R that a woman has the latitude to say, okay, since my husband has gone and this is the next of kin, because those of us who are from matrilineal homes, matrilineal succession, it is that if you are not there, your brother or your nephew takes over you. If your brother or nephew comes, if your wife refuses that he will not, be with the man, she has the right to move off and stay on her own.
And what they will do is that they will deprive her of all the possessions. That is where the problem is.
Yes, okay, that's where I would like to step in with some issues when you say we young ones we should come in and try to modify certain issues. Because now we've noticed that this actually poses a problem. You know, succession is not that you are going to take over wealth. Far from it. Far from a cookman's notion of succession, because we at times we even fear to go succeed because it's burden. People who don't know that succession is that you are going to take over the duties of your late brother or your late father or your late uncle, then the people are still far from realizing that they need to do something.
Thank you very much, Your Royal Highness.
Thank you so much.
That was very incisive. Your reaction. You are comfortable with what?
No. He has spoken about his community.
Yes.
But this is not what applies in other communities. And it's quite saddening that a woman's husband has died. She's mourning the pain. She's thinking about how she has to deal with the responsibility of taking care of the children. And what the family members see best to do is inflict some kind of, I don't even know what the best term to use, widow's rights on her. Her husband just died, she has to sleep on the bare floor. At least nowadays they have modified it a bit. She can put a mattress in the parlor, or she can put just a loincloth, sleep on the floor. Most times the property is seized. They are interested in the wealth the husband left. Nobody thinks about the children's school fees. Nobody thinks about the debts he had. Nobody thinks about the problems he was trying to solve for the family. No, that's nobody's concern. The worst is if he was a wealthy man and this woman didn't have some level of power in the family, she will be finished. Her and the children might tend to begging in the society just to survive.
So in most cases she is forced to succumb to some of those practices.
Exactly, and she doesn't have a choice. And if she dares speak up or she dares fight back, what will happen to her? She will even be sorry for herself.
Now Dr. Solange is here. You should tell BZLB that is no longer like that, that any woman in such a situation, am I making a mistake, should come up to
denounce. We, in most of the sensitization campaigns, we do know that women are victims or to such cultural practices. So every time we have opportunity to talk, we tell women to denounce such practices. They are punishable by the law. It is no longer in the years when women were subjected to all sorts of inhumane treatment. It is clearly stated that any traditional or cultural practice that attacks the physical integrity of anybody is punishable. So women should speak up. The thing is, most women, they just sit there, they accept because they were brought up to believe that that is how it's supposed to be. That is how a woman is supposed to mourn the husband. They don't want to stop it. Most educated women no longer go through that.
Exactly. You mentioned something, most educated women, but we know that we have a great majority of men who have not gone to school. They are not enlightened and they are like, okay, I am a victim. Where do I go to? Who do I talk to in order to ensure that I am not a victim of such practices?
Yes, let us know where such women who find themselves in such situations should go to.
The women in such situations, there is a Ministry of Women's Empowerment and the Protection of Family. There are so many social services in all the subdivisions and all the districts in our country. So they just have to go there and report such, or they seek the services of a lawyer.
I think
can all of them afford the services of a lawyer?
That can be a cosmetic solution to the problem. Because when you go down, let's say, to my village or to your village, doctor, do you expect a woman who uses the Choronko phone to be able to have access to internet, even to have access to internet when we have rural areas that are enclaved, no electricity, no network, and you want to say...
Let us say
That is the role of the chief of that village, to educate women, raise awareness on how to follow up such cases.
I wanted to get a mechanism how you work with traditional authorities to better propagate your messages in order to change the dynamics.
Thank you very much, Your Royal Highness. We have barrister. He is first of all a barrister at law by his own right. He is also an official, legal official in the Ministry of Women's Empowerment and Protection of the Family. He is a senior social worker, which means that she is used to these things. Tell us and tell these women where they should go to.
The issue is not to identify where those different types of violence occur or how the woman should allow herself to be violated upon.
We're asking.
But the first point is immediately you know that you will be. I'm not saying that you are a victim. That's what they call early warning signals. You should know that the way the perpetrator is coming, their life might not be the same again. You should now know those socio-legal and psychoanalytical defense mechanisms of early warning signals. Even if the woman is at the threshold of the problem, you should know when the other party's eyes are red.
Now, what are you saying? If the man dares give her a slap, she should slap back?
We are not here in the Hammurabic laws for an eye, teeth for a tooth. But we are simply saying that the woman, whether she's the instigator of violence that is happening on her or the idiosyncrasy of the perpetrator, she should know that first, violence is abhorred, irrespective of he or she who has provoked it. And what you should do is to take rightful steps to avoid that contact. The violence should not just be physical, because we've seen the consequences of physical violence, and oftentimes it leads to black eye, loss of limbs, loss of dental formula, one of your eyes are plucked off, and above all else, you are killed. And once you are killed, the things you held as important to you, my children, dignity of the institution of marriage, this and that, will still be there when you are no longer there.
Exactly.
And the children will grow. So the best thing to do is avoid violent gaps by doing things that will not lead to that point, even if you are defending your right to your blood.
Thank you very much. Those things, we want them now. Beginning with
first, understand early warning signals.
And action, what should they do? That is
first action. Silence is gold. Those who argue a lot don't have arguments.
That is very deep.
I'm telling you, because you want to justify what is not even justifiable. You see danger coming. It's like you moving on a highway and you see a snake.
We got that.
And you can attack it.
Silence actually is, I know.
It's good. And the second point.
I know BZB, Mafo, and Dr.
Just give me, let me say something.
We say they have to speak up. Yes, continue.
As you have seen the early warning signals, you should make a restraint.
Yes.
To calculate.
Okay.
Like the woman with the issue of blood. She did not just bump into Jesus. She calculated her steps and just touched the garment, and the problem was solved.
Okay. Now, thank you. I think he's made a very important point. Tit for tat should not be. No, and if you retreat, it's a strategic action that you are taking. But Dr. Solange and BZB, Mafo, what you are saying today is that women who are going through such violence should speak up. That's what you are saying.
Yes.
Even when something comes up, it is paradoxical. Or is it that in those days there were no mechanisms to detect the volume or the proportion of violence meted out on women, why is it that when we have multiplied strategies to curb violence on women, it instead increases? It's a paradoxical situation.
What we have to say is, first, women should speak up. Women die in silence. Women who are victims, or we usually use the term survivors, women who are victims are always afraid to speak up. Why don't they come up to say they are victim of violence in their homes?
Exactly, like we
there are so many reasons why women will not speak up.
Yes.
For instance,
well, we're listening to you.
Yes,
they fear of being castigated in the society.
There is fear. There is fear of what people will say.
Exactly.
Institutions, what would they say? And safety concerns. So, if I want to bring that point, what do I mean by safety concerns? A woman who you advise that if your husband beats you up, rush to the nearest police station and drop a case. We have the gender desk at every police station. Go there, drop a case, take a convocation against that man. That woman, at the same time, she's afraid because she has to take that convocation back to her home and meet that same man who has been beating her up. So what do they do concerning that woman who is afraid of going to give that convocation? That is one of the reasons why women will not speak up. Women too, there is a lot of
so you're telling them not to be afraid.
The police is there to protect you. The law is there. The moment the woman decides that she wants to speak up and leave a violent home, there is a standard procedure to follow.
Yes, I think some of you who are counselors could better guide them, so you should let them know where you are located around the country, around the world, so that they get to you, because you know the procedure better. You better counsel, advise them on how to go about it.
Yes, civil society organizations like my foundation, Dr. Thomas Sanshui Foundation, is always available. We receive calls from women who face such situations, and what we tell them, we can provide psychosocial support to women, we can counsel women, and we can tell them the various procedures they can follow up. But in case they are very far off from us, it can happen today at night. Where would the first place for her to rush to? Where will it be? It will be at the nearest police station.
Yes, and we know that we have social centers in almost all the districts.
What she has been saying is that it is not the education that they provide to the woman, but they should first of all give protection to the physical person.
Yes.
As she's being threatened in her home, the ministry has what they call shelters and distress homes and safe spaces.
Okay.
Where you can run there first. At least 3 days, you will be accommodated.
That's serious.
Psychologically tempered and socially orientated on how to go about issues before inviting both parties to come and talk. And this talking now, Mr. Killian, should now go in as a way out or consequence, like the provision of legal clinics, educative talks on how to cope with violence-based gender, and how to identify early warning signals. Because the day you were engaging your partner, you did not know his or her bad side.
Yes, thank you. What are these centers? What are these centers? Let them know where to go to.
Regional services of the ministry, the divisional services, the sub-divisional delegations, and even at some law enforcement offices like the gendarmes, the brigades, and the police stations.
Thank you very much.
Before I move off, Kila, I just want to say, thank you so much for giving me this last moment. I just want to say that in as much as we are preaching on TV sets to curb violence meted on women and girl children, it should not also be a way to embolden women who want to create broken homes and then move away because there are such services. So we are also taking precaution. No matter we are sensitizing, we know that men have the bigger share as blame, but women too, they should understand that you have to be in your house, build your mother and your father. If they were able to deliver you, nurture and mature you, there were problems.
Thank you.
There is no place without problems. Thank you so much.
That's what they tell women that stay in your home.
Thank you very much.
Your mother and your father, we never went through divorce. Why will you divorce? Those are notions that perpetrate gender-based violence, and women stay in violent homes till they die. We are really against such ideas. You are in a home where it is violent, it's no longer safe for you. The best thing is to leave that home first and seek for safety.
Now we are talking about the real things done. Are women walking their talk? Give us an example. You say you are an advocate, you have been doing. Give us an example you have had so that we see how it goes.
Yeah, we can say women have been walking
their talk
to a certain extent, because it's not 100% success. That's why we still find some cases.
Give us one bad example that you have handled
of
a woman who probably was battered and came up to you.
Yeah,
have you had some?
Yeah, we've had so many cases, and I'll just talk about one. This lady who came who called the foundation, and she was really in distress, and she was rushed to the hospital. So she sought out for our services, and we went there. And upon arriving, we went with a lawyer. I tell you, this woman was in a very bad state with a black eye, bruises everywhere. She was really in the hospital. So the lawyer, together, we advised her. We asked, first of all, you need to ask her opinion. Do you want to press charges? You have to seek her consent. So we sought her consent, and she accepted. Along the line, while we were trying to make the documentation and all, the woman suddenly stopped. She was no longer responding to the case. You call her, she is still in the hospital. Okay. She had already reconciled with her husband, because the man kept coming to the hospital, and we don't know what the man was telling her while in the hospital, what he was bringing, cajoling her, and at the end, the case, we couldn't press the forward because she was no longer interested. Yes, a woman in a real bad state,
and to think she is still in the hospital,
and she still has plans to go back to that man's home.
Well, so maybe there is a lot they might have reconciled, and maybe the man would have understood that if I go too far, they will take me too far.
We needed to have counseled.
Let me just make a point clear.
In
the law of evidence,
hasn't said, okay, please.
In the law of evidence,
yes,
there is the concept of competence and compellability.
What is that?
It means that a married woman should not testify against the husband, and vice versa.
Even when you are dying?
Vice versa.
In a case of life and death.
Well, this is becoming more interesting.
This is more than interesting. Yes, Jede, sorry for having kept you waiting. We are just going to welcome you. Jumping into how politically women think that they are not well represented, and that is why the lack of being in political decision-making positions, things are decided against them. They don't go there. Certain things don't happen. What is the representation of women in your political setup in the Popular Action Party?
I think before talking about the representation of women in the Popular Action Party, I will first of all start by saying that I think the problem about this gender-based violence is it's alarming today in our society because maybe of lack of sensitization.
Okay.
Because for example, when we listen to the barrister talk, you on TV, you talk on TV, you see that there are many things that needs to go to the common people for them to understand, for it to be broken down, for them to really understand.
Exactly.
For another thing I would like to say is that you realize that we are talking of activism against gender-based violence that began on the 25th of November. How many women out there have carried on activism?
We have.
What I'm trying to say.
What he is saying, I agree with him. Is that
a couple of activities.
Yes, at the summit,
maybe at the level of your foundation, you are carrying on activities. But we are talking of the women in Pola village. We are talking of the women in Gelmenduka. We are talking of women in maybe the suburbs. We are talking of women maybe in many areas, maybe in the far north.
In
and you can call the village maybe in my village, Mwambong village in the Kupe Maniguba division.
Doctor, I think that he is making a point that
what I'm trying to say,
he's making a point because at this time,
may you permit me to go to the end of my logic, please?
Go ahead.
Now, what I'm trying to say is that when we talk of activism,
it should be activism.
It should be activism. Let's look at the story of Rosa Parks in America.
Yes.
You know, the activism of Rosa Parks did not only change the gender-based violence in the United States of America, but it pushed forward for the recognition of the black Negroes in America.
Exactly.
So I think at this juncture now, it's not only at
so
the platform.
when you make such a very good point with an excellent example, let us get that resistant, that stubborn act of Rosa Parks that changed so much. What did she do?
Rosa Parks did sittings. Rosa Parks did public sittings. Rosa Parks went to the field.
Where is packed up is that in a bus where only whites were supposed to sit. A white person came in and said, as it used to happen, she should get up, and she said, no.
Obviously, at that particular time, if you want us to retrace the history at that particular time,
yes.
In America, the blacks were not even sitting in the same buses with whites when they were about even to go to their job. So Rosa Parks resisted and told a white that she cannot get up from her seat because all of them are equal. So he did such movements. It's just because of time constraints that I never wanted to go to.
It's okay.
So at the level now of the Popular Action Party, now coming at the level of the Popular Action Party, what we do is the first thing is that we have a lot of representation of women in our political party.
How many women do you have?
I cannot give a total number of the women in our political party, but we are talking of the executive. Okay, for example, in the setup of the Popular Action Party, we have counties, we have conventions. A convention is a subdivision, a caucus is a division, and then a congress is a region. So at the level of these executives, I think we have at least 40% representation of women in these
that is very good.
In these structures. In these structures. And in the National Bureau of the Popular Action Party, if you can permit me to
brings it here, please. I will let you continue. This is what I will ask you. The president, is it male or female?
The president of the Popular Action Party is a male.
The Secretary General.
The vice president is a female. The Secretary General, the first Secretary General is a male, Fabrice Lena, and the vice Secretary General is
only vices now women.
No, it is not a matter. Madam, it is not a matter of. I thought of the first Secretary General and the second Secretary General. It's not a matter of how many women today. How many women?
We don't are prepared that you give to women in your party. No, the point is not only your party. We are just using your party to let you know that this is what happens across the board.
So in a nutshell, what I'm trying to say is that how many women today in our society are prepared to take these challenges?
That's why I want to come in.
People like Rosa Parks. So in Cameroon in particular, what I think, in my humble opinion, is that when we are talking of activism based on gender violence, we should be in a moment where we see this activism, we see more women with workshops, we see sensitization campaigns and all the like. It is not always always coming on TV and talk. Yes, we'll come on TV today, we'll talk.
Let me address this point, please. There are many activities going on.
All parties, they don't see
any of the
government, and they don't have enough time to watch the media.
Do you know every week there is an activity carried out? Every day we have activities carried out
because
campaigns to raise awareness.
Thousands of civil society organizations
that are on the field
in all the regions of Cameroon who are militating to end gender-based violence.
But the issue is only people are interested.
Just allow me to draw home this point.
Yes, go ahead.
I'll tell you. There's the ALVF, Association de lutte contre violence faite aux femmes. There's ACAFEJ. There are other civil society organizations that protect women. You are getting it. They have branches all over. ALVF even gave a award to a woman in the north, in France. Yes. Because of her activism in the north, where in the north they only see the woman, they don't need to hear her.
That is very good. I mean that.
The point I'm trying to give is that I'm not saying that we don't have these civil society organizations
So what
like
is
the
the
foundation.
point?
The point is that their work is not enough in ground.
Yes,
on ground.
that is
what I'm
that is
saying.
acknowledge that they are
Because, no,
doing
please,
something.
let us not-
That's the
let us-
thing.
we will
This is
get
what
there.
I
I believe that the essence of
something.
the objective of this program is to educate.
Permit us give out.
They even
People have been
finish all
talking
the
about that.
job
People have been
in one
talking for
day.
45 minutes before me coming on board. So I believe that you also
understand,
let me
Prince.
talk.
I understand, Prince.
Yes. So what I'm
I
trying to
understand,
say-
Prince. Please,
You want to-
Prince. I will
it's
give you
better
1
we
more
give
minute. I will give you
clear
1 more
and
minute.
concise information
Yes,
to the
thank you very-
public.
thank you very much,
I will give you
Daphne.
1 more minute, but you will answer this question.
Okay, sir.
We'll talk about family before you came. What will you tell a parent who tells the girl, the daughter who is battered in a husband's house that no, don't come back here, stay with your husband, when she goes complaining?
I will first of all say that I'm married. I'm a father of 5 children. So I can never be in support of a husband who batters the wife. That is a very serious.
I will not support a parent who refused to accept the daughter who had been battered.
Barrister, I wanted to come to what you were saying. No, I wanted to come to what you were saying. The problem is,
If the daughter is not going, come back home.
no, I believe that the barrister talked of something which is very important. I myself, I learned from that.
Yes.
He talked of silence.
Yes, very important.
It's very important. So I believe that in our society today, if such a case arises, maybe it is but normal that they need counselors, and after some counseling, I think the wife should go back to the house. But when it persists,
Exactly.
yeah,
that's
when
what
it
we're going
persists,
to-
yes, when it persists now, I believe that we'll know from there that it cannot work. So why not file for a divorce? The divorce is accepted in our society.
Accepted.
Yes, that one is very clear, because we
Okay.
cannot support, because the woman who died in Douala, because we're talking of people like the phone talked of women in his village. You understand? Don't having access to maybe the Android phones.
Yes.
But where this woman is an educated woman, because we're talking of a teacher in a school. So, but what could have happened?
You're
that-
talking about dying in Douala.
I'm talking of dying in Douala.
Yes, on the
so it is not.
27th
So this
of
violence is not only at the level of the people, the village women who
do not know.
Who do not know. It's also around the knowing class.
And,
So
and the husband also
exactly.
is,
So that brings us back to that question, which is very fundamental, in that when counseling comes in, maybe once, twice, thrice, and it doesn't work, I believe in that case, why not a divorce?
Yes, we are getting closer to the end of this program. BZLB MAP4. Politics is part of this game. Women will do their job better. They will walk their talk. They will walk their talk better if they get to decision-making positions. Let's look at kind of caricature of the representation in politics in Cameroon. Can you give us some clues?
We have 5 female ministers in the Ministry of Secondary Education, Ministry of Urban Development and Housing, Ministry of Women's Empowerment and the Family, Ministry of Post and Telecommunications, and the Ministry of Scientific Research and Innovation.
How many do you want? Social affairs.
Social
Social affairs.
Yes.
Yes.
I add minister delegate.
We also have
No, we are talking of ministers.
Ministers.
Plain minister.
Yes,
Yes.
minister
Yes.
with.
But a minister is a minister.
But we also have
Okay, let's add that one. It will be six.
Is that
Now,
a man?
Kenya, permit me to say
excuse
something.
me, Barrister. Is that male voice coming to defend the weaker representation of women in military?
Not necessarily, because I've been victim of violence from male in shops, where they always see me and they cry. You are the one giving powers to women. We have given them all. You are still adding it, and they are charging towards me. And I used to call the guards.
Now the 3
please.
minutes that we have left.
Protect
I
them.
like to.
The 3 minutes that we have left.
I'm over supporting
Dr.
them,
Solange,
giving
Dr.
them,
Solange.
opening their eyes to see that
Barrister,
they don't need to.
Barrister, the 3 minutes that we have left.
Okay.
We will not have handled this topic well if we don't talk about violence from women to men.
Permit me bring some points here. We are talking about if women are actually working. Their talk.
Yes.
So I would like to address one particular issue.
Yes. We will end with that, please. I will not forget. What do you do? Women.
Men are victims of gender-based violence
and drop dead because they are suffering under the weight of the violence.
But they will not speak up. That's
we have this. We have men. They do complain that they too suffer emotional, psychological, and verbal violence on the part of women. Some too even suffer physical violence.
Yes.
But the problem with men is their ego. They won't speak
That's the word.
out.
Their ego.
They won't come up to talk. They rather stay back and externalize their anger on the women by inflicting physical pain on them, which is what we are against. But men do suffer gender-based violence. They too have the right to be listened to, followed up, and the women prosecuted.
Barrister, very snappy on that.
Violence against men.
Yes, by
women. I wish to plead that it should be a debate for another day. But for those who are violated, some do speak out. There's a man in Yaoundé with a civil society organization, Violence Contre l'Homme. But anywhere he finds himself, even the men tell him to go.
You see, the men are not supporting.
What I want to say in this particular case,
they don't want to speak up.
Is that telling a man to talk about violence
on him
and other men, it's like transforming a night watch to a day watch, because in the day he will always be sleeping since he works in the night. So we don't need to go into some nitty-gritty.
You will talk about what you wanted to talk about now, but do you include violence against men when you are doing the sensitization?
Yes, we do. We do advise women to be watchful of their words.
Okay.
And we sensitize women to be very cautious in the home. They shouldn't forget that the man is there. He's the head of the family. We will not dispute that fact. No matter how financially empowered you are, rich, or whatever status you have, try to respect your husband, because the root cause of some of this violence on the women we are talking about emanates from the woman's mouth.
Thank you very much.
And then, Killian, I would like to say that we thought that most of the women who were victims of violence was because they didn't have economic means. But unfortunately, we have women who are empowered, who are learned, but they are still victims. But again, we cannot undermine the role that economic empowerment has to play in fighting against this disease in the society.
Yes.
Now, this is the thing. What I always tell myself and I advise even my fellow women is that have your means of survival, because like you mentioned earlier, most of these women will not speak up because they are like, what will the children and I eat? And then we spoke about parents who will not allow you to come back to their home. You will not need to go back to your parents' house if you have your own property.
Thank you very much. Yes, your last word now.
Yes, in our society today we have also violence against men, especially we have seen many cases in our society where, like, especially one which is very common is men taking a girl from primary school, send you to secondary, university, you have a job, and then you are gone. You abandon the man. So such violences we see them, but if we look at women are more into this violence than men.
Yes.
As the barrister rightly said, it's a debate for another day.
Thank you.
I'm saying that at the level of the Popular Action Party, we do a lot on sensitization against gender-based violence.
What stops women from?
I just wish to say that.
If you just do a time check, you will know that
a fraction of a second.
No, we have
it's just that
we have used
to limit violent gaps.
We have used
is for the woman
the sensitization campaign.
To first of all know that she needs to have her own, what she call my own money.
That's what
and secondly,
thank you.
Financial independence.
Let us end there.
In the course of that exposure, let her put water in her mouth so that she will not talk, because as she answers,
and we also have to stop some gender stereotypes in our society. Fight against some cultural and religious practices in society.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. We want to thank you very much. You see, it's very difficult to end this program. Our program, of course, we had His Royal Highness Joe Emmanuel, Traditional Authority Fund of Konje Kut Fongom division in the Minchum division of the Fongom subdivision in Minchum division of Northwest region, Dr. Solange Tumazang, who is a civil society actor, children and women's rights advocate, Barrister Panje Roland, who is a senior social worker, Bizel B. Mafo, journalist with the Guardian Post newspaper, and Prince Pierre Ejede, National Secretary for Organization Popular Action Party. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you also from wherever you watch us. Please, thanks for watching. This program will be rebroadcast on Monday at 2:30. You have other rebroadcasts on CRTV News. Have a great day.
We are much obliged.